To other news now, it is not here yet, but ride-hailing in BC took a major step forward today. An all-party committee of MLAs unanimously supported a plan to allow services like Uber and Lyft throughout our province. There is still a lot of work to be done, though, on this. Justin McElroy is at the legislature in Victoria and joins us now. Justin, what can you tell us about these recommendations?
Dan, so this isn't insignificant. When you have everyone from all three parties giving their consent for this, it means that there's some unanimity going forward in terms of how this could work. But there were 32 recommendations, not enough time to get in all of them, but three that are very interesting. Number one, that ICBC create a specific insurance model for people that register as drivers for these sort of services that sort of helps for when they're driving on their own versus when they're driving other people. The second is that a third-party criminal record check and other check on their activities happen every year, so that way that there's safety measures in place and that there's some enforcement by an outside group in terms of who can drive you. And the third is that the government wants to collect a lot of data from all these ride-hailing services on when and where and who they're picking up, so that, and the prices as well, so that they can change the regulations, perhaps introduce surge pricing, perhaps put in other things if they're finding that the model isn't working. But now that this is in place, now that the recommendations are there, that are signed off, the BC Liberals, who have been pushing this for years, say it's time for the government to act.
It's now incumbent upon the NDP to introduce the legislation. Clearly, if you're governing and you had a plan to introduce it by December 2017, you've got things in the works and they should be ready to go.
So Justin, when is something going to happen?
Well, that's the big question that people have been waiting for years, but it looks like it could be happening later this year. Now, the spring session has just begun. There's 3.5 months left in it, but it would take a lot of time for them to get all of this in place. Plus, there's another report focusing on it that is about to be presented to the government as well. So, Green Party leader Andrew Weaver has been pushing this for a long time, and he says, look, you should be expecting a few months from now until anything starts to happen in terms of legislation.
Realistically, I would expect to see legislation in the fall to enable it. But if this was suddenly a top priority for government, they could down tools and do it in the spring. It's not onerous in terms of what we're asking for and recommending rather. But again, it's a question of government priorities.
And two big questions still to be answered. And number one, what do big ride-hailing companies think of these proposed regulations? Uber says they still need time to read the entire report, to consider it. And secondly, what the government actually thinks in terms of timelines, what is feasible. Transportation Minister Claire Trevena said today she hadn't read the report yet, needs more time. So encouraging signs if you're someone in favor of ride-hailing, but still a lot of work yet to be done.
All right, Justin McElroy in Victoria, thanks very much.